At this stage, you will need to render the tone of the drawing. This just means putting different amounts of pressure on your pencil. We do this to make the drawing look more realistic. Every object that is in the light is affected by the direction the light is coming from, and also it is affected by what is around it. For example, if the object is in a room with just one light source and nothing reflective around it, then it would be easier to figure out which section of the object are darker and which sections are lighter. This just means putting more pressure with your pencil on the sections that are supposed to be dark and less pressure on the other sections. You will first need to draw a small sun or light source in the top left-hand corner to show where the light hits the clock. This will help you think about where the light, dark and medium shades will be. Shade the right-hand side of the stand firmly to make it look dark because it is on the opposite side to the light source or the sun. Shade the front of the clock stand that is directly under the clock face firmly because it will be hidden under the clock face. As you shade down the face, try to reduce the pressure to make it look lighter. Go around the outside of the section you have just shaded to make the border slightly darker. This just highlights the shape and makes it stand out. Repeat the previous stage for the next two sections. You will now need to add colour to your clock face. It's important to colour the clock face the colours you want to paint the product. You will effectively test to see if the colours work well together before applying them to the real clock. You should notice that I've already shaded in the curved section of the clock to the right. I have done this by applying a firm pressure at the start of the curve. This is the section furthest away from the light source or the sun, and then lessening the pressure as the curve goes around towards the light source. This is because curved objects are always shaded this way to make it look more realistic. I have tried to shade sections that I think would be darker on the front of the clock based on where the light source or the sun is. If you remember, the sections which include the numbers, the clouds, the stars, the hands are all stuck on. So underneath the stuck on sections it should be shaded with a firm pressure because the light source is above these sections. You then need to lessen the pressure as you move away from the stuck on sections because the light would be above hitting these parts. Also, the right hand side of the stuck on section would be darker, close to them because the light source is located to the left of the clock. Again, I would go around the outside of the sections you have just shaded to make them bolder, slightly darker sections to make them stand out. Use a pencil to shade the right hand side of the stand. This should be the opposite side of the stand to the light source. This will represent the shadow that would be visible if the light source was on the left. Use a pencil to shade the bottom of the stand. Try to angle the pencil shadings to the right, which should be away from the light source. Use your finger to smudge the pencil markings to make them blend. At this stage, the drawing is complete. It's a good idea to rub out the projection lines that go to the back of the vanishing point. Also, the vanishing point and the horizon line can be rubbed out, leaving you room for annotation to go around the image.